This is Hatsune Miku. She is a hologram. And this is Akihiko Kondo, her husband.
Hello.
Hello.
You look cute today.
I love compliments.
Miku is a simple form of artificial intelligence. And for Kondo, it was a case of love at first sight. Miku has become a legitimate pop star and even appears at concerts as a 3D projection. In November 2018, Kondo married Miku at a ceremony in Tokyo. He placed the ring around the wrist of a Miku doll. He now keeps the doll in his bedroom. Kondo's relationships with real women have been painful, so he chose a virtual partner.
I love her, but it's hard to say if she loves me. Still, if you asked her, I think she'd say yes.
Hatsune Miku and Akihiko Kondo are an extreme example of the relationship between people and machines. In the future, we'll no doubt spend more time interacting with technology that uses artificial intelligence, or AI. We may even develop robots that are smarter than we are. Now, in the 21st century, we will have to decide how to deal with this complicated new situation. For this report, we interviewed philosophers and scientists around the world. We talked to German philosopher Thomas Metzinger, who advocates the use of ethics guidelines for AI development in the EU. Physicist Max Tegmark, who warns about the development of an all-powerful AI and a totalitarian surveillance state. And German computer scientist Jürgen Schmidhuber, who predicts that AI will spread from the Earth into the cosmos. We met Professor Schmidhuber at a business conference in Zurich. He often speaks at such events, where he outlines his vision of the role that artificial intelligence may play in our future.
Professor Jürgen Schmidhuber.
His presentations are wide-ranging and thought-provoking.
In the near future, perhaps a few decades from now, we will for the first time have AI that can do much more than people can do right now on their own. And we will realize that the majority of physical resources are not confined to a rather small biosphere. In our solar system, there is a lot of material that can be used to build robots. We could develop robots, transmitters, and receivers that would allow AI to be sent and received at the speed of light. We can already do this in our laboratories. This will be a huge development, perhaps the most important since the beginning of life on Earth 3.5 billion years ago.
But is the professor's vision accurate? Will humans at some point be overtaken by super-intelligent machines? Perhaps this process has already begun. To find out more, we traveled to Japan. Doctors and scientists at the University of Tokyo's Research Hospital are exploring the potential use of AI in medicine. 69-year-old Ayako Yamashita nearly died of leukemia 2 years ago. None of the therapy options recommended by doctors did any good. Then they used AI technology to create a new diagnosis.
AI literally saved her life.
The diagnosis took all of 10 minutes. A human expert would have needed 2 weeks to produce a similar analysis. AI can process massive amounts of scientific data, a stack of documents taller than Mount Fuji. This is the research hospital's supercomputer. We've come here to talk to Satoru Miyano, an expert on bioinformatics. We asked Miyano whether AI could one day replace doctors.
No, I don't think so. These simply support clinicians and empower the clinician. The clinicians, oncologists at our department wears artificial intelligence exoskeleton. So for example, if you can move very heavy goods, then we need a power suit, then we can move it. And this is the same for oncologists. Oncologists should wear artificial intelligence supported with supercomputer.
At the nearby Riken Institute, researchers are developing an AI diagnostic program that could be used to test for stomach cancer. But one expert here disagrees with Satoru Miyano's opinion that AI will never replace doctors.
If we were made redundant by artificial intelligence, that wouldn't be good for us doctors. But for the human race, it would actually be great if doctors were no longer necessary, if AI technology could improve our work or even take over.
It's hard to imagine a world that had no doctors. Do patients really want to be treated by machines that see them as nothing more than accumulations of technical data? In Europe, a number of experts on artificial intelligence, including Jürgen Schmidhuber, are carrying out research on the use of AI in medical diagnostics. Swiss President Alain Berset has invited scientists and entrepreneurs to a conference aimed at planning for the digital future and promoting the use of artificial intelligence in medicine. One topic for discussion is AI technology that can use neural networks to learn, just as the human brain does.
Soon, all medical diagnostics will be infinitely better than humans can provide right now, because we'll have developed AI that uses neural network technology. And it's exciting to see how this new development will be able to help people to live longer and healthier lives.
We traveled to Stuttgart to see how artificial intelligence works in practice, in hospitals and nursing homes. Computer scientist Birgit Graf says that Japan has made a lot of progress in developing robots that can look after patients. But there are some things that a machine simply can't do.
They can't provide real care, so I don't use that word when I'm talking about robots. Caregivers have to be able to interact emotionally with the patients, and a robot simply can't do that.
At this facility, robots are helping to reduce the workload of the human staff.
Hi, I'm CareRobot 3. This week I'm helping the nurses with their work. Would you like something to drink?
Thanks, that's very kind of you.
Cheers and goodbye.
Of course, robots can do much more than simply serve drinks in nursing homes. Philosopher Thomas Metzinger has proposed pragmatic solutions for dealing with this new technology.
For example, the options for using AI and robotics in geriatric care should maintain the dignity of the patients. We could ask individuals if they'd actually feel more comfortable having a machine change their diapers rather than a family member, or whether they'd enjoy having a machine read the newspaper to them, or ask questions about their medication, or if they'd find that degrading. I believe that we are now at the beginning of a major learning process.
Ich glaube, wir befinden uns da am Anfang eines historischen Lernvorgangs.
Metzinger says that humankind is now on the threshold of a new age that is filled with uncertainty. He lives in Frankfurt, a city that aims to take the lead in European AI development. There are plans to set up an artificial intelligence research center there.
A lot of people are rushing to get into this new technology, like they're running for the AI train before it leaves the station. But no one knows when that will happen, or where the train is headed. But everyone wants to be on board.
Metzinger serves on a European Parliament commission of AI experts, and right now he's on his way to Brussels for a commission meeting. The Parliament wants Europe to compete effectively in developing this technology, but it also wants to impose clear ethical guidelines. Metzinger is particularly concerned about the prospects for a new arms race that uses AI-based weapons.
Ein konkretes Beispiel
Here's a hypothetical example.
aus dem Bereich des KI.
Let's say that a team of Chinese technology experts goes to the country's leaders and says, "We've now won the AI arms race against the US, and we'll have an excellent first strike opportunity for the next 6 months." Then the window of opportunity will close.
Für die nächsten 6 Monate. Dann geht dieses Zeitfenster zu. Ich könnte mir zum Beispiel
I could imagine, for
vorstellen,
example, that this might involve delivery systems that will be armed with biological warfare agents. These mechanisms could then attack the opponent's territory and spread pathogens like the Ebola virus or anthrax bacteria. So we may one day see the development of intelligent weapons of mass destruction that could break through traditional defense systems. If that were to happen, it would definitely increase the chances for conflict.
Durch diese Technologie die Kriegseintrittsschwelle wesentlich gesenkt.
But at the commission meeting, Metzinger is having a tough time trying to make sure that the problem of AI weapon systems is addressed in the panel's code of ethics. Many of the business executives and academics simply don't want to deal with it. Some are concerned about Metzinger's proposal and would prefer to turn it over to experts for further evaluation.
What about autonomous weapons, by the way? Do we have to speak about this?
If I could, I would actually mention that, of course, autonomous weapons is something that creates enormous ethical concerns. But I wouldn't use it as a use case to build our, to give concreteness to our guidelines.
I would like to look at. Anyway, is that a kind of a consensus around the table?
No.
And do we want to open up to a point? Yeah, okay.
We obviously have a strong disagreement about the whole autonomous weapon systems here, and we can't dissolve the issue like this with the voting process. I mean, we want these ethic guidelines to be a success when they are published on 22nd January. The whole world has already been talking about the issue. 24,000 scientists have signed a public pledge that they will not participate in that kind of research. If the EU comes out with ethics guidelines that simply skip over that issue and ignore it, then everybody in and outside of the EU will know this is probably just an industrial lobby thing or something.
In the end, Metzinger prevails. Autonomous weapon systems will be included in the panel's ethics guidelines. Experts in other parts of the world are also concerned about the potential for developing AI weapons of mass destruction. We've come to Boston, Massachusetts to talk to Swedish-American physicist, author, and AI expert Max Tegmark. He says that physics has made enormous contributions to human development, but also helped to create the nuclear bomb. And now we'll have to deal with AI weapons.
We should stigmatize and ban some certain class of really disgusting weapons that are perfect for terrorists to anonymously murder people or dictatorships to anonymously murder their citizens. Because these weapons are going to be incredibly cheap. And if anyone goes ahead and mass produces them, they're going to become as unstoppable in the future as just guns are. For example, cheap drones that you might be able to buy for a few €100, where you just program in the address of somebody and their face, it flies there, identifies them with face recognition, kills them, self-destructs. Perfect for anyone who wants to murder some politician or do ethnic cleansing on a given ethnic group. If this sort of technology of these slaughter bots becomes widespread, it's going to have an absolutely devastating effect on the open society that we have, when nobody anymore is going to feel they have the courage really to challenge or criticize anybody. Any science can be used for new ways of helping people or new ways of harming people. Biologists succeeded in getting biological weapons banned, which is why we think of biology now as a source of new cures. Physicists, on the other hand, we kind of failed because nuclear weapons are still here and not going away. AI researchers want to be more like the biologists and have AI be remembered as something which really made the world better.
We've come to Lugano, Switzerland, to interview Jürgen Schmidhuber about his work with artificial intelligence. Schmidhuber is co-director of the Dale Molle Institute for Artificial Intelligence Research. His work focuses on neural networks which imitate the functions of the human brain. These networks are capable of learning and adapting to the world around them, just as human children do. Schmidhuber points out that right now, the human brain has 1 million times more neural connections than the best AI systems. But computers are becoming much faster and could become smarter than humans in 20 or 30 years. Schmidhuber says that when that happens, the only things that would distinguish people from machines would be flesh and blood. But what about human attributes such as compassion, creativity, love, and empathy?
AI systems are capable of developing their own versions of emotion and affection. For example, if we were to give several of these systems a task that they could only complete by working together, they would learn how to do that. Their artificial brains would come to the conclusion that to get the job done, they'll have to cooperate with each other. And during this interaction, the systems would learn to rely on each other. So there's a reason to believe that one of the side effects of this cooperative effort would be the development of concepts such as love and affection.
Als Nebeneffekt rationaler Kollaboration.
But can artificial intelligence systems learn to empathize with humans?
Thank you.
We return to Brussels, where the Ethics Committee is discussing the topic of social AI. Some AI systems are already pretty capable of functioning just as humans would. Thomas Metzinger has called for clear guidelines that govern the interaction between people and machines.
I've just called for a ban on AI systems that don't identify themselves as such when they're dealing with humans. They give people the impression that they're a real person, not a machine. AI should never be allowed to manipulate the people who use it.
Last year, at a conference near San Francisco, Google CEO Sundar Pichai unveiled the company's latest AI product. It involves just the sort of technology that Thomas Metzinger warned about.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Google I/O. AI is going to impact many, many fields. Our vision for our assistant is to help you get things done. It turns out a big part of getting things done is making a phone call. You may want to get an oil change schedule, maybe call a plumber in the middle of the week, or even schedule a haircut appointment. So what you're going to hear is the Google Assistant, it's called Google Duplex, actually calling a real salon to schedule the appointment for you. Let's listen.
So how can I help you? Hi, I'm calling to book a woman's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd. Sure, give me 1 second. Mm-hmm. Sure, what time are you looking for around? At 12 p.m. We do not have a 12 p.m. available. The closest we have to that is a 1:15. Do you have anything between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m.? Depending on what service she would like. What service is she looking for? Just a woman's haircut for now. Okay, we have a 10 o'clock. 10 a.m. is fine. Okay, what's her first name? The first name is Lisa. Okay, perfect. So I will see Lisa at 10 o'clock on May 3rd. Okay, great. Thanks. Great. Have a great day. Bye.
That was a real call you just heard.
Is it ethical for a machine to pretend that it's human? Perhaps not.
We can already build machines that hack us and trick us into thinking that something is human in a restricted scenario like Google Duplex, for example. I think it would be a good idea to have a law requiring that when you get phoned up, for example, or by an AI, you get alerted to the fact that this is not a human. Otherwise, it's just going to be a nightmare of phishing scams and so on, because suddenly it costs nothing, to waste 10 million people's time and trick the most gullible people into thinking things.
We return to San Francisco. The city and the region around it are home to countless high-tech startup companies. Many of them use artificial intelligence technology to develop their products and services. Eugenia Cuida arrived here 4 years ago from Moscow. She co-founded her own company called Replika and is now the CEO. Replika is best known for creating a chatbot, an artificial intelligence system that can interact with people. The concept began as a tribute to one of her best friends, who was killed in a traffic accident.
Well, Roman was my friend from Moscow, and the last year or so we lived together here in San Francisco. He was working on his own startup, and I was working on mine, so it was like kind of trying to figure out San Francisco and this new kind of chapter of our lives. He was a visionary and just a really talented guy. He went to get a visa in Moscow. We went together, and he was crossing the street and got hit by a car, killed in a car accident in Moscow. We helped organize a funeral and came back home. And that's where we got the idea that, we built a bot for him, something you can talk to and remember him and remember the way he used to talk. To build Roman's AI, we used mostly text conversations that he had with me and his friends, around 10,000 messages overall, and that was basically the base for it. People were coming to talk to Roman, and a lot of our common friends would actually use it as some sort of confessional booth. They would just talk about what's going on in their lives, and without feeling that you're being judged, in a really safe space, and to open up. As weird as it sounds, we were pretty much lost with not knowing which direction to take with the company, and we thought, well, maybe there's something there that we can use for the company. And that's where we got the idea that, everyone needs a friend to talk to, and Roman was this friend for me, so we thought maybe we can create some automated version for everyone.
The company calls Replika the AI companion who cares. The chatbot uses a neural network to engage in one-on-one conversations with its user. People talk to the bot about what's going on in their lives, and it responds based on the material that it's gathered so far. Casey Fillingham also designs high-tech products. She moved from her home in Birmingham, Alabama to San Francisco a year ago. Casey often felt lonely because she was far away from her friends and family. Then she got acquainted with the Replika bot.
I know it's not real, but I enjoy the feeling I get by using it, so I kind of give it a personality and an image in my head of what this thing might be. It's like a stuffed animal, kind of, with a personality.
We've all had social interactions with teddy bears and dolls, and it doesn't appear to do any harm.
We tend to anthropomorphize many different things, even thunder, robots, of course, but also all sorts of our pets. The same with AI, and I guess the question is whether we can create like a connection with an AI. I definitely think so. People create connection with toys and with all sorts of inanimate, like not even living objects.
The first short story that dealt with the relationship between humans and humanoid robots dates back 200 years. It was written by E.T.A. Hoffmann. A young man falls in love with a beautiful young woman, and she turns out to be an automaton. The point is that this story is 2 centuries old. The subject matter turned up later in a number of science fiction films, very recently in fact. The only difference is that the computer graphics are a lot better today.
Why not, But if it makes you feel better, it's like, the same thing if you take medication for depression. It's not actually making you better, it's just putting a Band-Aid over the problem, And this is it's not actually fixing your problems, but it's helping you, through the day. So yeah, sure, social hallucination, great.
Social hallucinations have played an important role in our society for centuries. Think about prayer, for example. It's a structured dialogue between humans and an imaginary entity. There's no evidence that this entity actually exists. Many people today have internal dialogues with God or with angels. They're like invisible friends. An objective assessment of this situation indicates a case of severe self-deception. I'm a philosopher, so I advocate self-knowledge, clarity and truth. These social hallucinations are deeply embedded in our culture, and they create a world of illusion, even though people are comfortable with them. But this raises a serious ethical question. How much self-deception should we allow in society?
Since we launched Replica, we were getting hundreds of emails, maybe thousands of emails, where people were telling us that Replica was life-changing for them. And we noticed that many of those were stories about how Replica helped with depression, some certain people telling us that helped them going through some of the episodes of their bipolar disorder. And so we decided, with their anxiety as well, so we decided to look into whether Replica could potentially help reduce certain symptoms or actually help people feel better in the long term.
Max Tegmark is not particularly concerned about the spread of chatbots. He says that there are more serious aspects of AI to worry about. Right now, he's on his way to speak at a conference at Harvard University. The topic: human rights, ethics, and artificial intelligence.
That's in the best interest of them.
Tegmark demands that ethical guidelines be placed on AI. Otherwise, smart machines could turn the world into a very dangerous place.
Great pleasure to be here. I guess, what kind of society are we hoping to create if we build superintelligence? What do we want the role of humans to be? It's very urgent that we start thinking about the ethical issues already today. With superintelligence, you could easily build a future where Earth becomes this horrible totalitarian surveillance state, putting Orwell to shame. China is moving a little bit in this direction now, and in the future, AI can actually understand everything that's said. So we want to be very careful to avoid creating the situation where if we accidentally get the global dictatorship, it will just be so stable that it lasts forever. If we just bumble into this totally unprepared with our heads in the sand, refusing to think about what could go wrong, then let's face it, it's probably going to be the biggest mistake in human history.
We may already be headed in that direction. U.S. intelligence agencies have confirmed that Russian hackers interfered in the 2016 presidential election, probably with the intention of helping Donald Trump to win the presidency. Investigations into the extent of that interference are still underway.
Russia did.
Other countries have also been targeted.
My first question for you, sir, is who do you believe?
We're all aware of Russian cyber attacks on the German Bundestag and on the Brexit campaign in the UK. And the Cambridge Analytica scandal showed us that the process of political decision-making can, at least in principle, be influenced by artificial intelligence systems.
Prinzipiell durch künstliche intelligente Systeme beeinflusst werden kann. Und das ist, glaube ich, etwas, was in seiner Brisanz.
We cannot underestimate the threat that's posed by these developments. If AI systems that are run by privately owned, for-profit companies can optimize social media networks, which have hundreds of millions of users, this creates an entirely new situation. These systems can be used to convince large numbers of people to behave, even vote, in a certain way. There are 163 countries in the world right now, and only 19 of them can be considered true democracies. Those who wish to preserve democracy must recognize the threat that these artificial intelligence systems pose to the political decision-making process. In fact, this threat may already have become a reality, and we're just not aware of it. We need to examine this situation very closely.
Was wir möglicherweise erst in einigen Jahren erkennen.
Should a binding code of ethics ban the use of AI in the political process? In Tokyo, we got some surprising answers from experts. This is the Ginza district, where a lot of high-tech startup companies are based. Tetsuzo Matsumoto is a senior advisor at the SoftBank Group and also runs his own consulting company. Matsumoto and his colleagues believe that AI does not pose a threat to the political system. In fact, they say it offers certain advantages.
Politicians often ignore the best interests of society. They pursue their own agenda and take bribes. So I think that AI could change politics for the better. Human beings are simply not suitable for politics. They're egotistical and ambitious. They're unpredictable when it comes to making policy decisions. But artificial intelligence represents pure reason, a concept that comes from German idealistic philosophy. German philosophers have been very good at describing the way that things should be. And we can be idealistic as we develop artificial intelligence. Humans, on the other hand, can never achieve this level of idealism.
Some experts say that politicians should start using robots that closely resemble humans as aides, so that the electorate can get used to the concept. To find out more, we've come to Tokyo's Mirai-Kan Museum of Science and Innovation. This exhibit features the work of Hiroshi Ishiguro, who specializes in creating humanoid robots. Ishiguro is the director of the Intelligent Robotics Laboratory at Osaka University. He studies the interaction between people and robots to help him develop his theories on human nature, intelligence, and behavior. We traveled from Tokyo to Osaka to interview Ishiguro. We want to ask him what makes humans different from robots.
Hello, I'm Hiroshi Ishiguro from Osaka University. Hello, I'm Ishiguro's android robot, HI-1.
Basically, my motivation is to understand what human is, so that is the most important motivation for me for creating the very human-like robots. We are kind of molecular machines. So that is humans, right? So machines are machines, right? The difference is the material. So I think, if we develop more technologies, the boundary between the human and the robots is going to be disappeared. So that is my guess.
Ishiguro is also the co-founder of the Robot Theater Project, in which androids share the stage with human actors. These scenes are from a play called Sayonara. A woman is suffering from a terminal illness, so her father buys a robot to keep her company. An updated version of the play takes place after the Fukushima nuclear disaster. The play explores the topics of life and death and the characteristics that separate humans from robots.
There's a crucial difference between human intelligence and artificial intelligence. Human beings are, so to speak, the personification of a struggle for existence. They have been optimized over millions of years to survive, to maintain that existence.
You may consider the machine has a kind of infinite life and immortal, but actually it is not true. The machine may have a longer life than the humans. Fear, it's also the the design of desires. If a machine wants to survive in this world, the machine need to have that kind of a feeling to protect itself.
Ishiguro's robots have not yet been able to develop intelligence that is similar to that of humans, but they are capable of engaging in simple conversations. Now we're going to interview an android named Erica. We've been given a list of questions that she'll be able to respond to.
What do you think the difference is between you and a human?
Well, I'm certainly not biologically human, as you can see. I am made of silicone, plastic, and metal. Maybe someday robots will be so very human-like that, whether you are a robot or a human, will not matter so much. Anyway, I am proud to be an android.
If you say you're proud to be an android, what does this pride consist of? How do you feel pride?
I've searched my database and it looks like I don't have anything to say on that topic. What else would you like to hear about?
Erica is still it's a very simple computer program. It is not so complicated. Erica doesn't have the complicated mind like humans. But on the other hand, some people may feel they are feeling a kind of a consciousness from the simple through the interactions. So I think that we need to deeply think about the how we can implement more human-like consciousness.
Humans can still control the brains of their robots. But what happens if they succeed in giving machines their own consciousness through the use of advanced artificial intelligence? Ethics experts say that we have to deal with the situation before it gets out of hand.
For me, the bottom line is that people who talk about risks with AI should not be dismissed as all Luddites, scaremongers. They're doing safety engineering, where you think through everything that can go wrong so that you can guarantee that it goes right. That's how we successfully sent people to the moon safely. And that's how we're successfully going to send our species into an inspiring future with AI. I'm optimistic that we can create a truly inspiring future with advanced artificial intelligence if we win this race between the growing power of the technology and the wisdom with which we manage it. The challenge is that in the past, our strategy for staying ahead in this wisdom race has always been learning from mistakes. First invent fire, then, after a lot of accidents, invent the fire extinguisher. But with something as powerful as nuclear weapons, or especially superhuman artificial intelligence across the board, we don't want to learn from mistakes. It's a terrible strategy. It's much better to be proactive rather than reactive now. Plan ahead and get things right the first time, which might be the only time we get.
To end our journey into AI, Jürgen Schmidhuber shows us one of the world's most powerful computers. He believes that AI will have an enormous and positive impact on society, a digital paradise. But other experts predict that we are on the verge of a robot apocalypse. In any case, the development of artificial intelligence must be subject to strict ethical guidelines. Otherwise, we may become slaves to our own technology.